What's up? What's up? What's up? What's happening? How's everyone doing? How's it going? As you can see, sitting back on the couch, trying something a little different perspective. I'm a little upset. I will let you guys know that I'm a little bit upset because for whatever reason, Blog Talk Radio is not working for us tonight. I am really upset about that because I will not be able to take phone calls. I've been trying for an hour. It literally says our engineers are working to resolve the issue, but it's not working. It's not working. So I am upset about that. But of course, I'm going to need you guys to be my eyes as I try this new perspective here on the show. You know, I'm sitting a little further back, sitting back on a little couch here. And I need you guys to let me know if I'm remaining in focus. If I'm not in focus, hey, let me know if you like it or dislike it. If you rather me be up close and personal in your faces, I will do that. But just let me know. Let me know how you like the new presentation tonight. But anyway, welcome to the latest episode of Untitled Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, spelled SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel Basement. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone is well. You're going to see me look to my right quite a bit because that way I can look at the comments and things of that nature. Walter says, stop the capping. He says, I'm really just tired of all of the comments. No, man, I really was looking forward to taking phone calls tonight, man. I really was. And what I might do in a moment, you know, before we actually, you know, end the show, once I get through my segment, what I will do is I will look to see if Blog Talk has come back up. If it has by any chance come back available, then we'll take calls. But as of right now, it is down. So there you have it. But we're going to do what we always do. Let's say hello to the early commenters. Let me get myself in proper position here. I don't know if you guys can see. This is one of my favorite Steeler hoodies, man. I got it from the Nike outlet about 5-6 years ago. It's the wonderful material. As you can see, you know, the black is kind of shiny, even though it's kind of matted. And I cannot let go of this hoodie, man. It's one of my favorites. Let's see what we got, man. Let's see what we got. Who's up in here? Let's see. Let's say hello to Joshua Shields, Daryl Dukes. Also, if you guys can let me know if my audio is sounding cool. I didn't check my levels. Again, I forgot to do it because I'm further away from the desktop computer. But y'all let me know if it looks okay, sounds okay, and again, if you like the new perspective. Daryl Dukes, Wide Diggy, my good brother Kenyon in the building, Steeler Lee, Steeler Cards. Who else? Rajon 39, Tristan Cooper, Dr. Trey 88, Ali Howard, CT Pittman, 412, born and raised. Hello, Lanisha. Lovely lady of the chat. Y'all already know how we do, guys. Take care of our lovely lady listeners. Treat them with care. Lay out the red carpet. Gotta say hello to the ladies of SteelerNation. Who else is in here? There's another one. Destiny. What's going on, Destiny? Take care of the ladies, fellas. Y'all know the routine. 4 Wings Jumbo and Mumbo on the side. He said, what's up with you and Smitty? Nothing. That's still my guy. Talked to Smitty not too long ago. We just haven't been able to connect on Thursday nights, man. We really do plan to get back to it, but nothing going on. No drama or anything like that. Schedules just haven't lined up. But we'll get back to it as soon as we can. The Real Deal. What's up, man? Who else we got in here? Leonard Green, In the Green TV. Jordan Mid is in the building. Vista Light in the building. Mr. Elman. Janetta West. Hello, Janetta. Came across Janetta last week. Again, let's say hello to our lovely ladies in the chat, man. We appreciate the lovely ladies. Take care of them, guys. Treat them with care. Okay, great. Keith Van Nelson says, I'm in focus. All right, cool. You guys going to have to keep me updated on that. Hopefully the camera does what it's supposed to do We'll read a few more names here, then we'll get into it. My good buddy C. Antoine Hill. Hello, Debbie. Debbie has come through. Y'all know the leading lady of SteelerNation, Debbie in the building. And let's say hello to a few late nights. Leon Harris Jr. And I think that's going to be about it for now. All right, so let's get into it. Hey, man, I got a lot to talk about tonight, man. Let me look at my notes. You guys already see the thumbnail. Got a lot to talk about tonight, man, but we're going to start with Tomlin's press conference. You know, there's some things that I saw in the press conference that are a little interesting. Not really interesting, but just some tidbits of information that I wanted to address. We'll talk about that, and then we'll basically recap some of the things that I saw in the game. A lot of you guys know I was at a dinner party on Saturday night. I could not watch the game in real time, but I did rewatch it. Man, listen, we can say what we want about the head coach. We have our opinions, but I'm telling you, there's some bad player execution as well that we cannot let go unacknowledged. And then I will dive into the Steelers, Rudolph, the Steelers reindeer. We will get into that, man. So let me get to my notations here, man. First and foremost, in regards to Mike Tomlin's conference, he did talk about Mason Rudolph will get the start against the Bengals. We all know that. However, there's a chance that Kenny Pickett will play. You know, we saw today that Kenny Pickett did do some work, you know, some one-on-one drills, no real team session from what I saw. And actually, bear with me, guys. Let's take a look. I want to see how he actually showed up on the injury report. I'm pretty sure they had him as limited, but let's just determine what's going on here. Let's not guess. Let's be accurate. Yes, Kenny Pickett did practice. He was limited. Who did not practice, and this is something to keep an eye on. Trenton Thompson with the neck did not practice. Najee Harris knee did not practice. Elijah Riley was limited. And the reason why I mentioned that is because Minkah Fitzpatrick obviously did not practice with the knee. So if Trenton Thompson is unable to go, Elijah Riley is limited, Steelers might be in a bit of trouble. But Mike Tomlin did talk about a few people, man. He mentioned Elijah Riley, and he also mentioned Eric Rowe, Completely forgot that he was even on the team. So these are potentials that could have an opportunity to play safety for the Steelers with no Minkah Fitzpatrick, and also number 23 being suspended. Trenton Thompson limited, or actually, I'm sorry, did not practice. Steelers could be in a world of trouble, man, at the safety position. You know, thinking about guys like Miles Killebrew. Cam Hayward is another big one. He had a concussion. He's in the protocol, but he was limited today, so that's a good sign. Pat Fryermuth limited with the knee. Broderick Jones is limited with an ankle. And Isaac Seumalo did not practice with the shoulder. So we'll see how the rest of the week will transpire. One thing to keep an eye on, Jamar Chase did not practice with his shoulder. So that's the only one to kind of keep an eye on and watch out for the Bengals the rest of the week. Other things that Tomlin talked about, Pickens availability, you know, was limited. We'll see how he perks up or not throughout the remainder of the week. Minkah Fitzpatrick, I already mentioned that they already called him out, so we already know that. And let's see. I did want to say that I do agree with Mike Tomlin's thoughts on what he said about the 57-yard field goal attempt. I know I actually did see that play because I was semi-watching the game while I was at the restaurant. And I did question at that point why we didn't take that field goal, but I couldn't really hear what was going on. I kind of saw it a little bit and, you know, trying to eat and talk and all of that jazz. But I will say I do kind of agree with his assessment based off of what he said. You know, I don't disagree. We can hate or love the decision, but I don't disagree on why he felt it may have been a better situation to put the defense on put them out there to defend a longer field as opposed to potentially missing the field goal and keeping the short field, because in all honesty, man, the defense was being like, they were basically depleted at that point. You know, the run game, was killing us in the run game. Good old Trey Sermon, a guy that we once thought the Steelers could wait and not take a running back. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was the Najee Harris draft. And we were saying, well, what if they don't go Najee in the first round? Maybe a guy like Sermon is there. You know, myself and Kenya know all about Trey Sermon. I scouted him quite a bit while in college. And, you know, what do you know? He kind of does the Steelers in on Saturday night. So I do understand what Tomlin was saying from that standpoint. I can kind of agree with what he was saying. Yeah, you know, it probably is a better chance to try to let the hope would be to have the defense to defend 90 or more yards. And then he talked about how, once again, Presley Harvin doesn't really do the job they expect him to do. The punt kind of went straight up. They ended up getting the ball on like the 17, which typically would be not so bad field position for the defense. However, like Tomlin mentioned, in that scenario, you want to try to pin them a little deeper than that. And Presley Harvin really just has not been consistent at all, man. So, you know, it is what it is. But let's go back and talk a little bit more about overall just how that game was going. It just wasn't going well, man. It just was not going well. I got quite a few notes here, man. And, you know, you guys that will see the All 22, I'll show that to you. It's just some bad execution, man. I mean, penalties for one. Penalties offensively just was at an all-time high, it felt like. Killed us. Joey Porter Jr. with his penalty, man, down in the red area. You know, and they throw the deep shot. Minshew throws it deep downfield, and Joey Porter is called for defensive pass interference, which in turn, the Colts are able to turn that into points. And it was a lot of things that I saw in that game, man, particular plays that the execution was so bad. Busted coverages, like on that pass to one of those guys, I forget the guy's name, that was down in the end zone, man, down on the right side. And then also, you know, the way Mo Alley Cox just abused, and I got to say it now. I tried to keep myself from saying this because I said this guy didn't get a lot of playing time, but he has played a decent amount of games now. I have to take the name away from number 93. Number 93 is just dead in the water when it comes to coverage. I mean, Alley Cox just abused him in that man-to-man situation on that touchdown. It was bad, bro. Horrendous. Just horrible, as I say. Ugh. Just bad execution, you know, and it is what it is. And little things like that, man, I'm telling you, are the details of the game that you can't always put on the head coach. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the head coach, man, after I talk a little bit more about the things that I kind of saw in the game. Let me get to my notes, man. Let's see. So there's a couple little things that I just notated as I was watching rewatching the game, pausing it and watching a little bit of the All 22, sending some clips to Tony and Kenyon. Offensive penalties killed the Steelers. I also wrote here, you cannot miss Freiermuth on 3rd and 3. Remember that? It was 54 seconds left in the half. Steelers had pretty good field position, and Freiermuth is wide open. And somehow, number 10. Yeah, I've taken his name away from him too now. Number 10 just misses him. Throws it completely behind him. I mean, he's wide open. If you keep that drive going, you never know what happens at that point. You have a chance to put points on the board, maybe a touchdown, but, you know, maybe likely a field goal. And you just never know how that changes the complexion of the game. Remember, at that point, this was still a very, very close game. It almost hurts me to see how the Steelers were actually up 13-0 at some point in that game, because by the time that I got to the dinner party, we were in the lobby waiting to be seated, I was able to see a little bit of the game. They had it up on the bar, on the TV in the bar area. And I was like, 13-7. How did that happen? So then somebody else who came to the party told me, he was like, yeah, when before I left home, it was 13-0. And I was like, really? So then getting a chance to see the game, I'm like, wow, we were really, we moved the ball well early on in that game. And somehow the offense just can't get it all the way. They just can't get it to curl all the way over. Some of y'all might catch that reference. Just never curled all the way right. I don't get it. I don't get it, man. And let's talk real quick. Sidebar. George Pickens, what's up, man? That run, even though the Steelers eventually got points on that drive, if I remember correctly, but that run by Jaylen Warren, where he's tackled on about the 2-yard line, if George Pickens makes any type of block there, it's a touchdown for Jaylen Warren. And also, Mr. Pickens, you cost me some points in my fantasy there because I needed him to get in the end zone. Jaylen Warren was my running back for the week. But what was up with that? Yeah, hey, Steeler Lee is getting close to that. The only reason why I won't take Pickens' name away from him because the talent is there. So I can't say that he hasn't earned the right to keep his name from a talent standpoint because the ball's not really being thrown his way. But that attitude that he's showing, that lackadaisical approach, I ain't liking that, brother. I'm not liking that. And all of this little subliminal stuff that you're doing on Twitter, listen, or Instagram, wherever you posting, listen, Pickens, you need to chill. You are talented, but listen, I'm a team first guy. Steelers can find them another receiver. What's that thing that Tomlin always says? They want volunteers, not hostages. You got to get it together. I'm not appreciating what I'm seeing out of him, just the lack of effort. And even on one of those interceptions. Funny thing, he made the tackle on one interception, but that second one was like he was running away from it. Get it together. I heard today that he kind of responded to some of those questions. I haven't heard it myself, but I saw the articles. But let your play and let your demeanor on the field dispel what people are thinking about you. But if he blocks at all, just a smidgen, Jaylen Warren gets in the end zone. See, we can't have that. We can't have that type of moping around, and we can't have that, sir. But I wanted to say that as a sidebar. See, it's little things like that. Again, I know people will say, oh, they're an undisciplined team. Fine. I'm not here to change opinions. I just feel like, again, as someone who has played sports, a lot of these things, in my opinion, fall on the player. Behavioral stuff is the player. I will never put that on a coach. Coach can't really do nothing about that, man. And that's just my honest opinion. Let me see what else. There was a couple other things I wanted to talk about, man, before we dive all the way up. We got a donation. A round of applause. We got a donation. We definitely thank you, Steelberg. We appreciate that. Let's read the comment here. He says, Sim, can you explain why Austin called man coverage on that touchdown before the half? Both safeties out, middle linebackers can't cover, and close to the red zone. Help me out. I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't got no answer for that either. You know what's funny, man? Myself and Kenya, we talk about this a lot. I have these conversations with my father-in-law, Leonard, as well. There's a time and place when to run man and when to run zone. And sometimes you just have to wing it, right? A lot of times you've heard me get upset when I say, why do we just sit in this same routine zone and we just sit there? Why do we do that? Why do we do these drop zones all the time? But then there's times I feel like we should get more up close and personal. Play a little man, play some bump and run, play physical. When it's like 3rd and 5, disrupt the timing a little bit. Red zone would be another situation. But just like Steelberg just said, also you have to understand the situation. You avoid 2 safeties, right? This might not necessarily be the time to just put certain guys in man. And I mean, particularly when you don't have the linebackers that can cover that way. Because sometimes what you can do, man, depending on who you have on the field, what type of personnel, you might do a man coverage situation where you get a safety, right? You get a safety to line up against a tight end. We've seen that deployed in the past. Let's say, i.e., the Seattle Seahawks. I remember one time, I want to say it was Cam Chancellor. They put Cam Chancellor on Grunk, and they took him out of that game. It was a good strategy, right? Sometimes you could do that depending on the personnel, who you're playing, what type of guys you have on your back end. Sometimes you'll put that safety down, let him match up against the tight end because you feel like the safety is a better athlete. Sometimes, I've even seen this. Sometimes you put a corner on the tight end, especially a team like Seattle using them on the offensive side of the ball. This year, they've been deploying a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets, right? And they pass out of it. In that situation, you might put one of your best corners on the main target at tight end. But the Steelers absolutely don't have a linebacker currently that's going to win that matchup. It's just not going to happen. I mean, we've seen poor Michael Walker, number 38, and I hate to say that about him, but we've seen tight ends abuse him in his time playing with the Steelers so far this season. And number 93 he can't do it either, man. He's a downhill type of guy. And great question by Steelberg, man. Was that the best time to run man? See, little things like that, even though I would say player execution was bad, that's a coaching thing. Was that the right time to call that particular coverage? So, things like that you can point to and say, that might not have been the best time to do that, coach. Well, who knows? Maybe he felt because of the personnel we had that they had a better chance to play man. But, excuse me, I think you better all playing zone when you don't got the best of the best on your secondary, on your defense, and just try to keep things in front of you. Play a condensed, a tight zone. But we all know the Steelers don't do that. They play a very loose zone. Let's see. What else did I have here, man? Joey Porter Jr. getting called for that offensive pass interference. That hurt us. Why do I keep saying offensive? Defensive. Joey Porter Jr.'s defensive pass interference when that happened was a bad time for that to happen. It hurt us bad. I wrote here, number 34. Y'all know who that is. You know what? I'm going to give Chandon Sullivan his name back. Just slightly, because we haven't had to point him out too much later in the season. No, I'm joking. I'm taking that back. Number 34. Because him and Trenton Thompson were covering the same guy on that touchdown pass to Montgomery. I don't know what they was running there. It almost looked like they were running like a match zone, right? Because you could see clearly where there was zone coverage, but then it looked like it turned into man. And somehow, and I actually haven't watched that play in the all-22. I want to see it from the end zone. But it's weird because some people were playing zone. It almost looked like an invert too, because somebody came from the right side and came all the way over. They were chasing, but then they backed off. But either way, number 34 and Trenton Thompson took the same guy, and Landon Roberts is kind of playing in the hole, playing zone, and Montgomery was able to run right past him, and there was absolutely no one on that right side because Sullivan and Thompson were playing the same guy who went inside, wide open for the touchdown. And I'm like, that right there, that's player execution. That was blown coverage. Because whether that was man or zone or match zone, they completely blew it. This dude was wide open. For you guys that may have seen that, even if you don't have the all-22, go look at it on the TV tape. It was the touchdown throw to Montgomery. Bad. Horrible. And see, stuff like that, I can't put that on the coaching. That's on the field execution. Man. Najee Harris fumbles. After the Steelers defense gave a 3-and-out, and that was after the start of the second half. So at this point, the Steelers are still in the game. The Colts are able to get the ball back, because Steelers took the ball first. I won't even mad at that approach in that scenario because, again, when it works, you're happy. When it doesn't work, you're sad. But we got to acknowledge it. Tomlin said, look, man, I wanted to take the ball. We have not been able to start fast. We need to start fast and get a lead. We took the ball. And they went out there and did what they had to do. They was up 13-0. But now you get the Colts, you give them the ball right back after, I want to say it was 14-13 going into the half, I think, right? You cannot allow the Colts to go down and score to start the half. Defense goes out there and gets a 3-and-out, and then Najee Harris fumbles the ball. That's on the player. That's on the player. No way you want to slice that. That's on the player. Right after that, I think the Colts score on that drive too. Here's another thing. Early in the third quarter, and I'm going to tell you right now, I do not understand why the Steelers ran a toss sweep with Calvin Austin and Allen Robinson as the lead blockers. Yes, they pulled Dan Moore. Pat Fryermuth blocked down, and your lead blockers, the lead, if I'm not mistaken, was Calvin Austin. The second lead was Allen Robinson. And y'all know the result of that. That's play calling. That's offensive coaches. That's Sullivan, Eddie Faulkner. And hey, if Tomlin had a hand in that, that's him too. But you cannot do that. I mean, you just can't do that, man. Guys, the two lead blockers was Calvin Austin and Allen Robinson. What else I got? Oh, yeah. The very next play after that, I notated this. Broderick Jones and Dan Moore get manhandled, and they give up a sack. And when I say manhandled, man, Dan Moore got just beat badly, and Broderick Jones got thrown to the side. It looked like my man was Reggie White out there doing the, you know how Reggie White used to do that, the little shiver? He just take his arm and push you out the way. Broderick Jones listen, let me tell you something. Kenya made a good point earlier in the week. He said, we definitely would like to see the Steelers invest in the offensive line. Terry Bradshaw also said that, and I'm going to say something about that in a moment. Got to invest a little more in the offensive line and move Broderick Jones to left tackle and let him build from there. He had a couple good showings at right tackle, fine. And I'm not saying that Broderick Jones is playing bad. He's a rookie. He's going to have his ups and downs. They even knew that with him coming out of Georgia. He's more of a super ceiling guy. He wasn't a finished, refined product anyway. But one thing he's going to have to work on is pass pro. His pass pro just hasn't been superb. You know, he's got to learn how to anchor a little bit. And the dude is athletic. I think he has the talent. He's got to be coached up. But boy, did he get beat badly. I mean, I'm telling you, it literally looked like Reggie White was on the other side of him. How he got tossed out of the club. But this was after the toss sweep with Allen Robinson and Calvin Austin as your lead blockers. And I have one more thing to talk about here. Well, two more. There was a play in the third where James Daniels got called for holding. And on that play, he literally got ran over. Literally. I mean, that was one of the best bull rushes I have seen in a long time. Literally got ran over. Anytime as a offensive lineman or a blocker, period, but specifically offensive lineman, anytime you see the sky, that's bad. That's bad. If you see the sky, that's a serious problem. Wow. That ain't good for nobody. That's a problem. When he hit you with the literally got ran over and all he could do was hold on for dear life. He wanted to save whatever respect he had for himself in that moment. Holding on for dear life. That's player execution, fans. Good people of SteelerNation. That's on the player. Now, yeah, some people can say, yeah, but you don't got to have a good offensive lineman coach. I agree. Got to interrupt myself. Thank you so very much. We have a donation. Round of applause to C.T. Pittman. He says, haven't we seen enough of the Steelers playing linemen out of position, i.e. Kevin Dotson, who is thriving now in LA? It's a good point. It's a good point, and it's funny to add insult to injury. Kevin Dotson says in a brief interview that now that he's playing in his natural position, he feels a lot better, a lot more comfortable. Said it was a little more, difficult playing on the left side. And listen, I'm here to tell you, as someone who played football, I often would wonder how different it was playing left tackle versus right tackle, left guard versus right guard, center. They're all different. Excuse me. The good ones have position flexibility, but it's a reason why those guys are sought out for, because not everybody has position flexibility. Not everyone can play left guard as good as they play right guard, left tackle as good as they play right tackle, or guards that can play center. Not everybody can do that. And I fully understand that, because clearly you've seen real examples of that, even if you're not just looking at the Steelers. But then you have guys like Landon Dickerson, I might say. Seems to be doing well in Philly. This guy was a center. He's playing guard. So sometimes, it's hit or miss, but I will say, yes, I am. It is. Listen, not every player that leaves the Steelers goes on to do better. We've seen that story as well. But it does suck sometimes when you got another donation. Let me interrupt myself. Round of applause to Janetta West. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Janetta. I appreciate that. And Kev, so nice. I do see your question. You says why so far back. It's only because different perspective. I'm just sitting back on the couch. Again, you guys are gonna let me know at the end of the show whether y'all like this perspective or not. Just trying something new. Give it another feel, a different feel, if you will. But as long as you guys can see me, as long as I'm in focus, I think it's cool. But again, I will allow you guys to tell me how you want the show presented to you, because it is your show. I'm just a facilitator. But yeah, man, it's tough to see these linemen, do decently in other places. I mean, clearly we all knew that Kendrick Green was out of position. Even when we scouted this dude, when he got picked, I didn't know much about him. When he got drafted, I went on to scout at Illinois. I saw him being a rough and tough type of dude, a nasty, got a little bit of that nasty in him, right? But that was at guard. Not so much as center. I saw more from him as a guard. So, yeah, man, interesting. Okay, I do got one more thing. The 9-minute and 17-second mark of the fourth quarter. 9 minutes and 17 seconds left on the clock. Najee Harris misses the biggest hole that we may have seen in Pittsburgh from that offensive line. And man, when I show y'all that on the All-22, y'all probably already seen it because it was posted on Twitter. So I had to go look at it for myself as well and really analyze it. Najee literally ran back into the defender. The left side was so open. I joked with my cousin Floyd. I said, we could have got 10 yards off of that. Right now, right off this couch. Right off of this couch, if I knew that they was going to block it up just like that, I might get 10 yards. Najee Harris has done that a bit. Listen, I like Najee Harris. I really do. I like Najee. I think Najee is a good fit for the Steelers. I like the 1-2 punch with him, not as a lone back. But Najee has had these moments, man, where his vision has been extremely questionable. There ain't no question about that. There's no question about his vision being questionable. Come on, man. And Floyd also said, Jaylen Warren, I don't think misses that hole. I couldn't disagree with him. I don't think Jaylen Warren misses that hole. I'm just saying. I wouldn't go as far as to say that, Diane. I don't think he's done. Listen, I think Najee can be effective, man. We've all seen it. We've seen where the two backs can be effective for us. So I don't want to get rid of Najee. I want to keep that two-man rotation. I mean, maybe you favor Warren. Maybe Warren is the first guy up. And Najee is the guy who's splitting reps. I don't know. But I don't want to sit here and say that Najee is done because, again, guys, we've seen Najee have good moments this season. But he better pick it up. He better pick it up because remember what I said. And I know the offensive line hasn't been great. But this was a big season for Najee Harris. A lot of times the Steelers like to extend guys going into their final year. Technically, next season is Najee's final year under contract. The Steelers do have the 5th-year option, but will they exercise that? You see what I'm saying? So, and yeah, Jaylen Warren has played behind that same offensive line, and he's seemed to have been more productive in his amount of time. So, that's an interesting one. I kind of want to see if the phone queue is going to work. Let me check it, guys. Give me 2 seconds. You're just going to see the screen change a little bit. No fancy transition. It's just going to show you that starting soon is going to come back up really quick for just a second. Let me see if I can get the queue to work. If not, I'll just talk to you guys here in the chat. So 1 second. All right, that is a negative. Negative. So they get the loser. Loser alert. I think I'm definitely gonna look around, man, shop around and see if I can find a better alternative for live calls. I've explained this before in the past, but I'll explain it to some of you guys that don't know. Some of you have mentioned in the past, hey, why don't you use Zoom or something like that, or Discord? And I don't really want to do that because I really love the format that Blog Talk Radio provides. And let me explain to you guys what it provides. So some of y'all watching might be aware of another software. I want a software where I can have a queue, where I can select who and when to bring on the call, bring them on the air live. Also a phone number that you dial into. So it does not require any type of login or email. I don't have to send you an invite. That's how Blog Talk works. Blog Talk has a phone number that you dial in. You can be anywhere and call. You can be on your phone in the middle of the mall. You could be at your job. Some of y'all have called me on your break. That's how I want it. I don't know if there's a way for me to, even if I use my actual phone, which I definitely don't want to, I'm just being honest. I ain't trying to use my own phone number. But even with the phone, I don't know if there's a way I can funnel it through the computer and all that. I mean, I probably have to get a lot of equipment to do that. So I want a software that allows me to do that. And in my searches in the past, I never really found anything quite like Blog Talk Radio. So that's why I stick with them. But I'm tired of them having these moments, man, these nights like tonight where I really wanted to hear from you guys and gals. And I can't, other than reading chat. So if anyone is familiar with any type of service that would work like that, again, quick recap, dial in phone number, the ability to allow numbers, callers to go in queue, the ability to unmute, mute, bring you on, take you off, et cetera, without having any type of account that you got to have in order to use it and all of that. Boom. That's what I'm looking for. So until I find something better, Blog Talk might still just be who we go with, and we have to deal with this on occasion. But let's see, man. Somebody said Discord. Yeah, but Discord, to my knowledge, CT Pittman, does it have a phone number? Is there a phone number that you can call in, and can I queue you up and all of that? Maybe, I don't know. So y'all might be schooling me. So let me talk a little bit about the head coach, man. Then I'm going to go to your comments. Listen, it's like this. I feel like I need to say this every show because I always have to treat this as if somebody is new and they don't know my opinion. So I'm going to always lightly state what I'm going to state and leave it at that. I have enjoyed Mike Tomlin as a Steelers coach. I do think the man is a good coach. It might not reflect in recent playoff wins. It might not reflect in total Super Bowls in his tenure. But I think for someone to do what he's done in 16 years is not easily done. So I think he's a good coach. But with that said, listen, if it's time to move on, if it's time for a mutual parting ways, I'm not opposed to that. The train has to keep moving. At the same time, if the Steelers and Tomlin don't feel as if they need to move on, I'm good with that too. I'm just being honest with y'all. I'm good with a new era, and I'm good with Tomlin staying. Because, again, I don't think that a lot of the stuff that we're seeing is completely on Mike Tomlin. A lot of that stuff I just talked to y'all about is on the players. But just so y'all know, I'm not fighting for him to stay. I'm not fighting for him to leave. If they feel that it's best for him to go, and I still think if that happens, it's more than likely post-2024 season, I'm fine with that, and we see who they bring in next, and I'll judge him the same way. But if they decide to keep him super duper long term, that just is what it is. So what I need him to do is, and him and the organization, get better players and start winning again. But I have no control over any of it. So that's why I don't overly express it like some of you guys do. I have no control over that, what the organization is going to do, when the coach is going to leave. So I just don't make a fuss about it every week. So just making sure y'all understand where I'm at with it. What else? What y'all got? So let's sit here, man, and see. Let's read some comments, man. And like I said, man, listen, 16, 17 years after this season, that's a long time. It's a long time. CT Pittman says Discord does have a call-in. Calls are very clear through Discord. Okay, so I'm going to check that out. So if Discord actually has a phone line that people can call in, and again, I need all of the features where I can select who I bring on. You can be in a queue and all of that. Perfect. So I will investigate that tonight. Knight Rider said he's a great coach. Yeah, man, I don't disagree with that. I do think he's a great coach as far as overall. His playoff percentage has not been great. And, we haven't won a playoff game since 2016. I fully acknowledge that. Because if y'all know me, y'all know that I'm about the team winning and succeeding more than I am about any individual player or coach. So whatever it takes to get back to the promised land, man, that's what I'm here for. Steelers card says Tomlin has won Super Bowl. Okay. Is that a statement or are you responding to someone else? Okay, I see in the green says Tomlin has been to 3 Super Bowls and has 2 Super Bowl rings. Okay. I think what he's referring to is he does have a Super Bowl while he was a part of the Buccaneers organization. Let me read the rest of your comment. Tomlin been to 3 Super Bowls and has 2 Super Bowl rings. If it wasn't for Big Ben throwing those 2 big interceptions against Green Bay, he could have had 3 rings. Yeah, we could put a little bit on that on Ben, as well as Rashard Mendenhall with his, oh man, that fumble really hurt us. Walter Worthy says people think coaches grow on trees. Take a look around the league. Take a look in the last 10 years and see how many good coaches there have been. It's an excellent point. I told you, man, it's still a nation. It's still a nation. We are, and when I say spoiled, that's what I mean, guys. Some of y'all take that too literal. But what I'm saying is we have been blessed, right? Yeah, I'll go as far as say blessed to have been watching a organization that has been winning. Because, okay, he won the Super Bowl with Cowher, and then I think he went 8-8 the year after that. But so, yeah, you can count all of them years. We've been a winning organization that has not had a negative record, even though the season felt negative. We've been winning. So every one of Mike Tomlin's years, and we'll see how this one ends, because I don't know. This could be the one that he's under 500. I mean, looking at this offense, I don't see us winning another game. But for 16 years, we have had hopes and things looked possible, and then you were disappointed. But that's why it's so easy for us to say, get somebody else in there, because if we just change that, we could. I get it. I'm with you. But that's why. See, we haven't had to go through the mud and the dirt like all of these other organizations. We haven't done that for 16 seasons. And I do believe that. I don't think just these phenomenal coaches grow on trees. They just don't. Let's see what else y'all got. Destiny says, yo, that fumble really hurt him. He gotta let it go. Yeah. He do. Mendenhall still on his BS, man. He is. Dr. Trey 88 says, all of our division rivals latched onto good head coaches recently. We don't have the luxury like we once did. Yeah. Yeah, man. I do think Stefanski is a decent coach. What's the other? I think Harbaugh is, to me, I put Harbaugh right there in the Tomlin bucket. Harbaugh has been steady. Harbaugh actually had a 5-11 season. See, we haven't even had that. See what I'm saying? But that's a good coach. And what's Cincinnati's coach name? I can't remember this dude's name now. Is it Zach Taylor? Seems to be a decent coach as well. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, our division has gotten really strong, man. Really strong. Zuri Rivers says, with the QB play, we miss Kenny Pickett. It's weird that we're saying that, man. Oh, wait a minute. What am I thinking? I haven't even talked about the Reindeer. Hold on. Thank you, Zuri, for reminding me of that. Listen, Kenny, they all have their woes, man. Kenny Pickett had his woes. Y'all know my issues with him. Reading the field, bail in the pocket. Do I think Kenny's effort put us in the best position? Perhaps, but what bar? Where's the bar? Because Kenny Pickett hasn't necessarily got it done either. But I do also think that the offensive line hasn't given him much favor. Donation. We got another donation. Have to interrupt myself and give a round of applause to C.T. Pittman. I do thank you for the donation. CT says, I'm a ride or die for the Steelers. I've been blessed to see 2 Super Bowl victories in my lifetime. Not many fans can say that. That's a fact. That is big facts. And we just want more because we used to seeing it. That's all it is. And I'm not saying y'all are wrong for that. But let me get back on track before I get back to the comments, man. Oh, man, how could I forget the thumbnail? The Steelers, Rudolph the Steelers reindeer is coming to town right before Christmas. Here's my question to all of you. What are you guys expecting to see from the reindeer this Saturday? That is my question. What do you guys think the outcome will be? Will this offense be more effective? What do you think he's going to do differently from Kenny Pickett and number 10? What are your expectations with him at the helm if he plays? Because remember, Kenny Pickett is practicing, but it doesn't look like he's gonna, according to the little videos that leaked out today, it doesn't look like he's really doing team exercises. So it's probably gonna be Rudolph the Steelers reindeer. This is very interesting, man, that we have come to this, where some people are calling for him. That is amazing to me. Let's see what y'all got, man. I see him throwing the ball deep. Okay. Somebody says earning his check and his future money. Okay. Dominic says not much at all, but maybe he'll surprise us. Maybe he'll surprise us. Wave Dave says Mason has a better deep ball. That's it. We still have the same play callers and playbook. Absolutely. What else y'all got? Joe Blow says, do you all remember when we benched Mason Rudolph for Duck Hodges? Plenty Steeler fans shared this sentiment right here when Mason Rudolph's name came up. Didn't want no parts. They didn't want no parts of him. Mr. Rudy CY says Mason is a better natural thrower than number 10. Mason has limited mobility, bad pocket presence. What else? Anybody else? Oh yeah. It said, Wave Dave said, and then bench Duck for Mason. Yo, I'm telling you, it's been brutal for us at the quarterback position for the last 5 years, man. And that's including our Hall of Famer. Because down the stretch, our Hall of Famer just won't hit no more. Man. But yeah, man, listen. Rudolph the Steelers reindeer is coming to town, man. And maybe he'll pull off a Christmas miracle. And you know what's funny? I'm in the same predicament again this Saturday. I got another birthday that I have to celebrate. I'm going to be out again on Saturday. And what do you know? I don't know if it's the football gods that's doing that allow me to not feel that sickness in my belly in real time for 2 weeks in a row, because I felt, my stomach turned so bad in person when I was at the Jags game, and I was like, all right, it's the Jags, okay, maybe we're not as good as I thought, and I knew we weren't good then, but okay, they were a better team at the time. But then my stomach, oh my God, the knots and the twisting and turning and throwing up that I did out at the stadium watching that Cardinals game. I mean, with the rain pouring down on me, cold rain coming from here, coming from there, double rainbow showed up. And I said, oh man, if the Steelers win this game, I want you guys to remember that image right there. It was a double rainbow. It was crazy. But, oh my God, the stomach pain. So I think the football gods looked out for me. This past Saturday, they said, hey man, go to a dinner party. Just get updates about the game and watch it later. Because when you watch it later and they already lost, it ain't going to hurt that much. They were right. And maybe they're doing the same thing for me this week. Hey, go celebrate that birthday. Be with family. Have a good old time. Because if you get the updates from Kenyon and Tony and they lose, it ain't going to hurt as bad when you watch it later because you know the result. Maybe they're right. I would love for them to get a win just because at this point. I would like to see the Steelers run the table just because at this point. I do not care about the playoffs. I told y'all that a few weeks ago. This team, man, I don't think there's that much a miracle left. Even if they went 10-7 and got in the playoffs, I do not trust this offense. Period. I don't trust this offense to win another game this season. That's just where I'm at with it. But I'm still a diehard fan, and it still hurts when they lose, even when I know they're going to lose. The way they lose, watching how the game transpires. So we'll see. We'll see. I might be in the same predicament Saturday as I was this past Saturday. But he's coming. He's coming. Rudolph, the Steelers reindeer, has a big arm when he throws. Rudolph, the Steelers reindeer, can he get a win? Who knows? Rudolph, the Steelers reindeer, he's coming, baby. He's coming to town. So, hey, we'll see what he got, man. We'll see what he has. We'll see what he has. Man, oh man. This is going to be interesting. All right, let's get back to the comments, man. I'm going to spend a little more time with y'all tonight. A little more time. Wish I could get to the phone calls, man. Oh, man, I'm telling you, Blog Talk is really ticking me off. Oh, y'all like that little melody? I promise you it was off the top of the head, man. Rudolph, the Steelers reindeer. What y'all got, man? CT Pittman saying Tomlin has to take accountability for the offense being so inept. He kept Canada too long, and the current play call is not much better. Yeah, listen, I will agree in theory that we got another donation. Boy, y'all are firing out here tonight, man. Round of applause goes to DJ. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hey, I love this comment. He says, I'm with Tomlin. We have September talent in December. Listen, man. Hate or love him. Hate him or love him. Oh, my little cover is coming down, man. I got to tuck it in. Debo coming. I got to tuck mine in. But hate him or love him. Those Tomlinisms are hilarious. But yeah, September talent in December. A bad combination of injuries and poor personnel decisions in key roles like number 23 and his nameless crew. Yeah, man, it's bad out there. It's bad out there. Real in the field, man. It is real out there. Joe says he likes that little jingle. Oh, it's Knight Rider too. Yeah, man. You know, sometimes it just be flowing, man. I guess that's the MC in me still comes out from time to time, man. Hey, Debbie says you write about saving the headache. Watching it's painful. No parts of Mason, Ancient Order, International, or Prince Hall. Yo, Debbie is hilarious, man. Yeah, it's bad out here, folks. But listen, Linda, listen. Gotta be a fan through it all, man. You know, this is really gonna test your fanism. It is. You gotta be a fan through it all. Shout outs to people like Mr. Winningham, man. And I want to say our Detroit brother that calls in, more elder statesmen that say they remember them times. You know, they remember those times in the 70s and all of that, or even post the 70s, right after the Super Bowls, when the team was just losing. They've been through that. See, I didn't have the luxury to go through that. You know, shout outs to Kenyon. You know, Kenyon said he was young, but he seen those teams back in the day. You know what I mean? So yeah, we ain't have to go through that. Kenyon did that. So hopefully we ain't had to go through that. So yeah, man, oh yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about these backup quarterbacks just for a spell. What y'all want me to say, man? It's funny, like, because people have sent me articles and such. Listen, I'm still gonna stick to what I said before. We all know the Steelers have not handled their backup quarterback position accurately. We all know that the Steelers were in a position where they had to draft a quarterback when they took Kenny Pickett. Think about that for a moment now. Some of you were saying, and I understand why you said it. I understand why you said it then. I'm not going to use the outcome to point a finger. I'm not. Matter of fact, I'll use Debbie as an example. And y'all know how much I love Debbie. Debbie was of the mindset, I don't think we take no quarterback. Let's just roll with this dude, Mitch, and see what he got. And if he ain't got nothing, we go back next year. She wasn't wrong in that. So far, she was not wrong in that. However, can we imagine after seeing number 10 play a whole season of that? We saw how he started off before Kenny came in. So it's one of them things where none of us can really predict it. But that was a great take by Debbie. But now we see, man, had they done that, we'd be even more disgusted. Because some people would have said, probably not Debbie, because Debbie was stuck to her, her belief. But a lot of people would have flipped up and said, man, they should have took Kenny Pickett at 20. Why they ain't take a quarterback last year? What made them think they could go with Trubisky? True. So I would say collectively, they have not handled the quarterback situation with the tender love and care that they needed to. And that goes from backups up to the starter. They took a swing at Kenny Pickett. Some people want to know why they did that. Why did they do that? Right? Because they felt like at that time they needed to be aggressive and take a quarterback without having to be aggressive. He fell to them. He was rated the highest quarterback in that particular draft. Whether it was a good class or not, he was the most pro-ready. We all saw him ball out in college. I know you can have your opinions about him, but you cannot deny the season that he had before being drafted. And they took a shot. And time will tell if they missed. 2024 is going to be the true teller. even though some of us are already like, no, I don't know, me included. I'm a little nervous about how he's reading the field or lack thereof. But 2024 is going to be, that's going to answer the question if they missed or not. And if they missed, can't do nothing about spilled milk. They have to start over. But largely, they have not addressed that QB situation. Let's see how they handle this offseason. And that's it. Everybody wants to talk about Browning, and everybody wants to talk about Purdy. And again, like I told you guys, this dude was Mr. Irrelevant. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody. Give the 49ers a shout and a round of applause for them being like, you know what, let's grab this dude and, let's take a swing at him in the 7th round. And they messed around and got something accidentally. Because if Trey Lance is healthy and he's able to play and develop in that system, could he flourish the same way Purdy did? Perhaps. We might not have ever seen Purdy. Just saying. Had they held on to Jimmy G. You see what I'm saying? So you can't predict these things. And then Flacco. Like, come on, man. It's Joe Flacco. Was any of y'all thinking about Joe Flacco before the Browns had an emergency situation, they go get him? And everybody's saying, oh, look how good he's playing. It's Joe Flacco, the guy that we know more than anybody else. That was retired, basically. And yeah, he's going to be able to play a little football. This dude is a veteran, a Super Bowl champion who went on one heck of a run. Donation. Round of applause. I got to interrupt myself, but I'm going to finish that point after the round of applause. Appreciate the donation from CT Pittman once again. Thank you. Before I answer CT Pittman, a Super Bowl winning Joe Flacco, who we cannot deny, went on a crazy run in the playoffs the year they won that Super Bowl. That boy was balling. So why is it so strange to say that, oh, Joe Flacco, a veteran who still, I'm sure, can pull some talent out when he needs to, same way Ben Roethlisberger probably could still pull some games out if he had to. Why is that such an unbelievable thing? And man, he's playing so much better than he always played better than number 10. And he should probably be able to play better than Kenny because he's a vet. So I'm just saying, y'all miss me sometimes with the narratives, dog. Like, just accept the fact that they playing. Oh, y'all did the same thing with Dobbs. Did the same thing. Oh, he go win a couple games. Not no world beater. He's just managing the game. See, we should have kept Dobbs. See, you can't be like that, man. You can't see the result and then say, see, we should have. Come on, man. It don't work like that. It can't work like that. But I'm in agreement with y'all. The situation looks bleak at quarterback. CT Pittman says, bigger question, would Kenny be a starter if he got drafted by another team and a different offense? It's a good question. There's no way for me to answer that. I would say no if Kenny wasn't drafted to start. So you got to remember, Kenny and the Steelers, he was drafted because it was a position of need. They needed a quarterback. Maybe Kenny gets the opportunity to literally sit for a year or two somewhere else. Could be a Jordan Love situation. Could be an Aaron Rodgers situation to a Brett Favre. Could be a Lamar Jackson situation to a Joe Flacco. Could be a Patrick Mahomes situation to an Alex Smith. Kenny was supposed to be that to a number 10. No, not so much. So, all right, give me a few more. I'm going to spend a little more time, man, since we couldn't get them phone calls. What else y'all got? Real G Lee says Flacco, where is it? Flacco has been crap for years. Great coaches are able to coach to a player's strengths and they will play well. Okay. I kind of see where you're coming from. Okay. But like I said, Flacco has talent, man. I mean, like, to add to your second part, putting him in the right situation is allowing him to be successful. And again, it goes back to what I say about why the Steelers have not been successful. Largely is because of the offense. And I get it. You can put the blame on Tomlin for keeping Canada and all of that. But the truth of the matter is that is the reason why this Steelers team is not successful and they're not winning. They have no offense. And I'm just of the mindset that does not squarely fall on just the head coach. Your position coaches are there for a reason. You know how you have some coaches that don't have an offensive coordinator? Like Mike McCarthy now, who's calling the plays for the most part. I think he's the only one calling it. Or Kyle Shanahan. That's when you can put it on them. But clearly, if they have an offensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator's job is to coach and call plays, draw up a plan. The head coach, of course, puts his hand in the pot. But the responsibility is largely falls on that coordinator. That's what they're there for. And he definitely hires the coaches. So if you want to say that, we can't refute that. If we want to say, listen, and I've said it too, I'm tired of the hires, the hiring from within. Absolutely. But guys, once the season starts and all of that, I'm looking at those people. So I'm not going to put all the blame on the person that's doing the hiring. I'll give you a perfect example. At my job, I am one of the hiring managers, right? People come in, they interview, they knock the interview out the park, resume looks stellar, all of that. First few weeks, doing all right. First month, doing decent. Then around that month 2 part, you start seeing the deficiencies. Then about month 3, yeah, this ain't gonna work out. You know why? That ain't got nothing to do with me or any of the other hiring managers because you presented yourself. At that point, our responsibility is to make sure you're properly trained, which we do. But once we put you out there to do the job, it's on you. And then sometimes they don't make it. So, like I said, you can blame a Tomlin for who he hires and things of that nature. Even the firings, which actually comes from up top, we know that. Still, the organization don't fire. But you can blame him for who he hired. But once those people are hired, you have to look at them. You have to look at them and judge them on how they do their job. Because you know why? Because we also sit here on this show, or you guys in the chat, and you would say, man, they need to bring Todd Haley back. Todd Haley, Ben Roethlisberger was getting the ball away quicker. They put up the most points ever. So are y'all giving credit to Tomlin for that or Todd Haley? You can't pick and choose when you give it to the head coach. That was Todd Haley that did that. Because Tomlin also had Fichtner, Bruce Arians. He had all of them. Coaches got to coach. That's all I'm saying. And again, do not take this as me taking up. I'm fair. I'm going to place blame where I think the blame should go, and as well as you guys can. Y'all don't have to agree with me. Y'all watch the show, so y'all want to hear my opinion. I'm giving my opinion. I can blame him for the staff, absolutely. But once the staff is in place, the staff got to show up too. And they have not done it offensively. What else y'all got? I like this from Knight Rider. He says, that's true. and you keep hiring people who are underperforming, your company is going to start to question you at some point. Absolutely. Absolutely. See, again, we're definitely not disagreeing on the hiring. All I'm saying is once you in the position, I got to judge the person in the position. It's a whole separate issue of who hired them. You understand what I'm saying? Because see, people will only blame the hirer. They don't never look at the hiree. That's all I'm saying. But absolutely, if I was to keep or the other management team, we continue to hire the wrong people, then somebody gonna look at us. But that doesn't happen because we also have people out of that same crop who's rising to the top rapidly, who are star performers. It's just sometimes some don't work out. What else y'all got? Quentin Ray says, I think it's stale. We use 3-4 personnel and don't bring pressure because basically makes you an undersized 4-3 or nickel team. It's a good point. That's a good point, man. You know, it's a lot of different things we might be able to do philosophy wise. I mean, you know, Tomlin comes from that Tampa 2 era. That's like 4-3. You know, so what we got there? Okay, it looks like I can't see it from here, but I just saw the notification. So either a subscriber or a member. Thank you very much. What else y'all got? Debbie says, yo, how is it Colbert not getting any of this smoke for making a walk-off pick to begin with? The draft of 2022 belongs to Kevin Colbert. Nothing else needs to be said from me on that one. Rajon says, when did Cam Hayward get a concussion? Yeah, Mike Tomlin mentioned that, man, on his Monday press conference. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know he was in the protocol until then. But he was limited today. So it's similar to last week. Who was in the protocol last week? Well, I think it was TJ and Alex, and they were both limited too on the first day of practice, and they ended up playing. So it's a good sign that he was at least limited today. World Traveler says, drafting, hiring, and they have been missed a lot, which is bad for a team that builds through the draft. And you can't blame KC for the bad drafts. Huh? You said you can't blame Kevin Colbert for the bad drafts? Can you explain that a little bit? I mean, I think the draft is absolutely square on the general manager as well as the head coach. But the general manager, it primarily runs that ship. You understand what I'm saying? Especially after the first round pick. That's why you have these position coaches who are always, you know, vying for their guy. They're campaigning for who they want to pick. Remember when John Mitchell was high on Jay Wobble? Y'all remember that? And he was like, man, I kept kicking the table, pounding the table for my guy. So I don't understand you saying that you can't blame a bad draft on Kevin Colbert or general manager. I'm not sure I follow that one. But if you can explain it a little bit, you know, I'd be happy to read your reply. RG Lee says his process of hiring coaches is the fall of the Steelers for the last 15 years. Let's get real. He did not want anyone in the building that would question him. Hiring from within makes you safe. Y'all know me. I don't comment on speculation. Man, there's no way that any of us knows that that's his mentality. He don't want. I cannot say what's in another man or woman's mind. I can't definitively say he didn't want nobody to question him. How do we know that? So that's why I don't reply to those type of comments. I can't. I don't do speculation. Daryl Duke says, Sim, if Jalen is on the board when the Steelers pick, do you draft him? Jalen who? Oh, Jalen Daniel? Woof. Woo. Woo. I'm going to tell you what, it'll be mighty tempting. I ain't even going to sit here and say it ain't. It'll be mighty tempting because, listen, let me tell you something. It's interesting from an organizational standpoint because if you draft another QB in the first round, your intentions is to play him. I don't know if you draft a first round QB just to light a fire under Kenny. I think you draft a first round QB if you moved on from Kenny. So I got to be honest and say in 2024's draft, if I'm in this position, I'm probably not taking him because unless I think I can trade one of these guys if they both pan out, because I'm going to give my first round quarterback, whoever it is, I'm going to give him 3 years to see, especially if, think about this from a business standpoint. If I have fired the offensive coordinator, that means I believe that the quarterback that I drafted can be better. It was just this guy holding him back. And that's why I'm probably not going first round next year. But it would be tempting. Walter Worthy says he was saying you can't just blame Kevin Colbert. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, my bad, world traveler. You're right. You can't just blame him. So, and I think I kind of said that in my reply. Yeah, you can't just blame just Colbert, but you gotta put some blame squarely on Colbert. Like I said, to me, I'm looking at Colbert, Tomlin, organization for drafts, scouts, a lot of people. But the thing is, I don't want to see. This is the thing. I don't want people to miss the point and say that all of these drafts have been bad. I mean, I had this conversation with somebody the other day. It's easy to say that when it's a player that you identified that wasn't good, right? But we got TJ Watt out of a draft. You understand what I'm saying? Like a good amount of these players worked out. It's just some of those positions didn't. Devin Bush didn't work out. But TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, these are guys that was drafted in the Tomlin and Colbert eras. Ben Roethlisberger, Kevin Colbert was part of that. So you can't just look at the positions that, that's another dud. Antonio Brown, that might be the best example of all. Antonio and Martavis Bryant, where they got Martavis. And let's not forget they drafted Emmanuel Sanders, Santonio Holmes. I mean, the list goes, Le'Veon Bell. But they've had duds, yeah. Jarvis Jones and Artie Burke, they've had duds, but every team goes through that. Every single team goes through that. A little bit more time, guys. I'm about to get up out of here, but let's see what else y'all got. Oh, Ryan Shazier. Shout outs to Dr. Trey 88 saying Bush was supposed to be our next Shazier. Yeah, let's not forget we drafted Shazier. Look at this last draft. We got dudes contributing, man. I think Joey Porter Jr. is gonna be good. He just got to clean up them penalties. No question. Keanu Benton gonna be a dog. That boy nice. We got dudes contributing, man. Nick Herbig, I think, is going to be solid from what he's shown already. He's going to get better now that he's been able to taste the NFL. And a free agent and undrafted free agent and Jalen Warren. So, come on, man. Yeah, I just think a lot of times, like I said, man, it's a natural thing to do. I think it's easy to pick narratives that fit your disappointment, because I always have that debate with people. For every person you tell me was a bad pick, I throw you one that was like a home run. Troy Polamalu. All of this is Colbert era. Just saying. Lawrence Timmons. Oh, Stephon Tuitt. Oh, man. Stephon Tuitt, man. Ooh, man, he was my man. Lamar Woodley. Come on, man. Like, this is all Colbert era, and a lot of it is Tomlin, too. Some of the later players. Come on, man. You see what I'm saying? So you can't just point at the ones that didn't work. And especially quarterback. It's the first time they had to draft a quarterback in 18 years. Some teams go through 4, 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks before they find the dude. All right, a couple more. Deontay Johnson. But, Knight Rider, some people ain't going to give you that one. But listen, Deontay's still an extreme talent. Extreme talent. He is. Getting George Pickens where they got him. Even though George attitude, But hey, AB had a bad thing too. We just didn't see it. But all right, man, I'm about to shut her down. I'm going to give it 3 more minutes. Anything else y'all got? Anything else y'all got that I need to read? Yeah, they got Mike Hilton off the street. Yeah. What else y'all got? I fully agree with Debbie. She says, I think the Bush to Shazier comps were completely off. Absolutely, man. Nowhere near Ryan Shazier. I mean, Ryan Shazier's sheer size and speed at that size is hard to find. You said opinion on Minka injury. What is the full extent of his injury? Can somebody fill me in on that? I know he's dealing with the knee, but I don't know how severe it is or isn't. What else y'all got? Yeah, Mr. Mark, man, Terrell Austin hasn't been good, man. Hasn't been good. And again, I know Tomlin has his imprint on that defense too, so I got to say that about him as well. But I will say this too, man. Listen, them dudes are, if I'm being honest, there are definitely things that they have done defensively that I have not liked, but we all know there's been spots when the defense played well these last couple years, and y'all know that to be true. I do think it's a combination this year of talent, because the inside linebacker position, man, turned out better than we thought it would before those guys went down, and it has just been a nightmare. Opposite safeties to Minkah Fitzpatrick has been a nightmare. Number 23 fooled you a few times. He got a couple bunny picks, but largely his play has been horrible. Number 31, his play was trash. Horrible. Trenton Thompson has been more of a brighter spot than those other two guys. But we have not gotten great play from the interior post Cole Holcomb going down and Quan, and just the safety play has just been, man, wow. And our slot corner, nothing to write home about there either with number 34. The funny thing is, Patrick Peterson has, even though he hasn't been his greatest, but again, the man is interrupt myself. Thank you for the donation, man. Looks like we got a donation from, where is it? I saw it. I don't know why it's not showing it to me. There it is. C. Antoine Hill, round of applause. He says, we have to go over the defense that was missed. Yeah, C. Antoine sent me an email a while back. I'm going to have to read that on the show one night. But those are interesting things to look at. But it's always perspective, man. Like, we never know what goes into these decisions during the draft and why they take certain players. But it is always interesting to go back and look at what if, and what type of teams the Steelers could have, would have had or what have you. But those things, you can't really judge it like that, black and white. It's hard to do that. But yeah, I'm going to definitely try to remember to read that list on the show and get you guys' take on it. But all right, man, I'm going to get out of here. Destiny said 18 lost his name. No, he's still Deontay, man. He's still Deontay. Deontay played well. You know, he played decent in that game, man. He still made some big catches for us. He got a touchdown, too. So, nah, he's still Deontay Johnson to me. Last one. He says, RG Lee says, Sim, I'm rooting for Tomlin. I wish he would call his mentor, Tony Dungy, and get some help. Maybe someone that can explain that he needs to surround himself with the things he is not good at, like the NFL offense. Yeah, man, something has definitely got to change. You know, he keeps saying things are going to change, but yet things still remain the same. But all right, man, this has been a wonderful show. I appreciate it, man. I didn't intend to go this long, but without the phone calls, I got to talking and got comfortable back here on the couch, and we had a good time tonight, man. So that's the last thing I would ask y'all. If y'all can put that information in the chat really quick. Do you like this perspective or not? Do you like this new look? Yay or nay? You know, y'all let me know what you prefer, and I will do whatever it is you prefer. I tend to like this environment. You know, I'm a little more relaxed, a little more comfortable, but y'all let me know. Do you or do you not like the new view, the new look? Put your vote there in the chat, as well as the comment section if, you know, you happen to comment after the show. But again, for those of you who are here and you like what you saw tonight, I just need you. Hit that like button. If you like the content, subscribe to the channel. For some reason, my notification is stuck there, but hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, as well as turn on your notifications so you know when the videos are streaming or recordings have been posted. Outside of that, let me see what y'all got to say. Some of you like the old one, some of you like the new one. Some say they like that I'm comfortable. But you said I would like to see it a tad more zoomed in. Okay. Too relaxed on the couch. Oh, okay. All right. But some of you guys seem to prefer it, so I think I'm going to run with it for a little while. You know, every now and then we'll switch it up. But all right, man, y'all have a great night, man. Listen, happy holidays to you all. I don't know who does and who doesn't celebrate Christmas. So if you celebrate Christmas, I'm going to say Merry Christmas to you. But overall, happy holidays. Hope everyone stays safe. God bless. Good night. Stay healthy. As well as you will see me again. You will see me again for the before play. I will get that video out probably on Friday night to talk about Bengals versus the Steelers, as well as tomorrow. I'm leaning towards tomorrow to get out the all 22 footage for those who are members of the channel. All right, but outside of that, that's going to do it for tonight's show. Once again, thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Untitled Tuesday, and I shall catch you in the next one. Peace.